I'm Laura and I've been with the EmpathyLab team about 3.5 years now, working across the book collection, training days and of course the annual Empathy Day. Now we've just reached the connect part of Empathy Day, and what better way to connect and to step into someone else's shoes than to take our very own empathy walk. An empathy walk is a great opportunity to see your local area in a completely different way. It's not just about noticing the usual landmarks in the buildings that you walk past all the time, but really putting on those empathy lenses and noticing the people and the situations that you encounter. Now, we've split our empathy walks from authors and illustrators today into two. We're starting off with Joseph Coelho and Jion Sheibani, and then after lunch, we'll hear from Patrice Lawrence, Jane Porter, and Manjeet Mann. Now, one young person has sent us his empathy walk in advance, and we're going to play it straight after Joseph and Jion's. And we really hope that it'll inspire a lot of other children and young people to take their very own empathy walks today. Now, although everybody was set the same task, you'll notice the results were really different because of all the different contexts and also all the different creative ways of presenting those empathy walks. And we at EmpathyLab would absolutely love to hear about your empathy maps, drawings, videos, or even empathy poems that come out of your empathy walks. Just ask an adult to tag us at EmpathyLab UK and use the hashtags Empathy Day and Empathy Walk. Now do stay tuned for all of the rest of today's amazing activities. And for now, it's over to Joseph and Jion.
Hello, my name is Joseph Coelho, children's author and poet, and I'm so pleased to be joining you on this Empathy Day. For me, empathy is all about walking in somebody else's shoes, taking time to consider other people's feelings, other people's thoughts and emotions, so that we can all come closer together as a society. I'm so pleased that my book Poems Aloud is on the Read for Empathy list, and I'm delighted to have been asked to go on an empathy walk. Now, I've been on my empathy walk and I'm very lucky I live near the sea, so I did my local circuit that I normally do where I pass the beach and the sand and the waves. I go up a big hill with an old tower on it, and I pass my neighbours and the local streets and some of my favourite trees as well. I decided to write a poem talking about the things that I saw on my empathy walk, and I'm going to share it with you now. As I walked, I wondered about the tree about to be cut down, a universe of living things strewn harshly on the ground. As I walked, I pondered on the house where the family would shout, the skips carrying their pain away, where could they be right now? As I walked, I grimaced at the rubbish on the ground. It seems to be getting worse, making a mess of our little town. As I walked, I marvelled at the sea's endless invite. I saw the surfers riding its waves, waves of escape, waves of delight. As I walked, I heard families laughing on the sands, dogs racing wildly, children building imaginary lands. As I walked, I was inspired by the runner's quickening pace. We share a nod and a smile as we breathe in the beauty of this place. As I walked, I saw a lady in her chair, struggling down the bumpy road and her dog's protective stare. My walks made me wonder of the variety of life, the sadness and the joy, the leisure and the strife, the pain that some endure whilst others whiz by, the world we must strive to protect whilst we're all just trying to get by. So a resolution forms, starts walking through my head to remove all judgment, all pointless point and blame, to choose another way, a kinder, gentler route through life's ambling game. I hope you enjoyed that empathy poem inspired by my empathy walk. I wish you all the best of luck on today's empathy activities. Maybe you'll get to go on your own empathy walk Maybe you'll draw a map. Maybe you'll write a little poem about the things that you see and about your empathy resolution. All the best. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Jion Sheibani and I'm an author and illustrator of children and young adult fiction. Picture books like Lily and the Polar Bears and The Worries young fiction series. Now today I want to talk to you about my empathy walk, which I did in Paris a few days ago. Now I'm not from Paris originally, I grew up in Brighton and I moved to Paris about 14 years ago now. I live just outside the city, right by the woods and the river, but for this walk I thought it'd be fun to go into the centre near a place that everybody knows, the Eiffel Tower. So as you can see from my map, I started my walk at the Eiffel Tower itself, and the first thing that struck me, other than how beautiful and iconic it is, was how empty it was, obviously because of the pandemic. The queuing alleys, which are normally jam-packed, were completely empty because the monument is obviously closed. In spite of there being no crowds and it starting to rain, there was still a man trying to sell these Eiffel Tower keyrings here and bottles of water. And I thought how it must be even harder now for people like him. Already in normal times, he must have to sell an awful lot of keyrings and water to make a living. But now it must be impossible. I bought 2 keyrings off him, but I wish I'd chatted to him now and asked him how he was doing in these difficult times and given him more money than just these €2. After that, I walked along the Seine, past the Quai Branly Museum, which was obviously also closed. And through the glass, I could see this wonderful, huge stone head amongst the foliage. It reminded me just of how much I miss museums and how vital they are for empathy and understanding other cultures, as well as our global history. I got really excited thinking about all the wonderful cultural things Paris has to offer and how when it all opens up again, I'm going to go to everything and appreciate it so much. After the museum, I went past the Pont d'Alma and walked alongside the river. And then I saw this place under the bridge where a homeless person had obviously been sleeping. I thought about how difficult it must be to sleep rough, especially in Paris. And I wondered who was sleeping there, how long they'd been there for, and what their story was. And I felt really sad thinking about the number of people who have to live like that. After I got to the Pont des Invalides, I walked back towards Pont d'Alma again, down an avenue called Avenue Bosquet. Just as the children were about to come out of school, I saw a man, he was probably in his late 30s, going towards the school, and he had difficulty walking, like he was partially paralysed on one side of his body, but it looked like he was trying to walk as quickly as he could, like he thought maybe he was going to be late. And then I saw his young daughter come out of school to meet him, and they had this massive hug and made a lot of noise. And it was quite a striking moment, not just because of this dad's disability, but because Parisians are not normally super expressive or loud in public. So it was really lovely to see this very euphoric moment between father and daughter, and it made me smile under my mask. After I carried on walking down this avenue, I noticed how lovely the buildings were, how well dressed the people were, and also how there were some big contrasts. Like this homeless man that I drew sitting on his bags on the other side of the road. And even though this man was really far away, I could see how sad his eyes were. As I was drawing him, I thought just how much drawing itself is an act of empathy, how you really have to think about how someone holds themselves, how to catch the look in their eye, wonder what they're feeling, why they're wearing the clothes they're wearing. Did he choose them? Were they given to him? After seeing him, I saw a concierge coming out of a smart building carrying 2 heavy bins, and I thought how tired she looked and what a difficult job that must be, doing all the cleaning and upkeep of a big apartment building. There was also a man leaning against the wall, vaping. He looked like he might be on a break from work, and he looked very grey and tired. And this all made me think about how this pandemic had made people very weary, and I hoped that the summer would maybe bring some respite for people like him and this concierge. Finally, I arrived at the American Library, reminding me of a past life pre-COVID, which still existed, just in a different way. And I also got to see my lovely friend Celeste, who is head of the wonderful children's library there. So all that made me feel very happy indeed, and it was a lovely way to finish this empathy walk. So at the end of each empathy walk, the idea is to make an empathy resolution. And I think I'd like to make a resolution to talk more to homeless people, ask how they are doing, and find out what more I can do to tackle this massive problem, a problem that really shouldn't be happening anywhere at all, but especially not in affluent cities like ours. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about my empathy walk. I'd love to hear about your empathy walks too. Let's do as many as we can. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I am doing my walk for empathy around my local community. I am at Coffee and Crumbs, my local coffee shop. Since lockdown, they've struggled a bit with customers, but since it's reopened, they've received a lot more customers and people are very happy in there to have a nice cup of tea. And this is Bryn Average Primary School, a place where children can feel safe. This is the second Bryn Average Primary site. Hi Miss Higgs in Year 6. I am now at Bryn Average Library, which yesterday I visited and I collected loads of lovely empathy books from. It's a lovely, quiet, peaceful place for people to visit. Children do really like it. And this is Level Park, a place where children can play and make friends. After my empathy walk, my empathy resolution is to spend time with people in the community and make friends.